Hi there, welcome back to the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, this podcast is a little bit different than what I've been used to, but not what I've been used to, especially on YouTube, my entire quote-unquote YouTube career. As you can see in the title, I will be talking about the specific YouTuber Stephen Boogie2988 Williams. So if you like him, I'm sorry. If you don't like him, I'm sorry, because I'm not going to be a total and utter dick to him, I hope. This is just something I'm trying, and if you like it, then let me know. If you don't, please let me know why too. I just kind of want to expand the content and see where else I can go. So with that, please sit back and enjoy the Ginescast number 10, The Case Against Boogie2988. I don't normally like making videos on other YouTubers because, in a way, I think it's kind of a cheap shot. It's kind of easy to just kind of sling mud at someone from behind an internet wall. But, and I think many of you already know this, I do fall down several internet rabbit holes from time to time. And a lot of that involves following these so-called internet lolcows. Now, for all you normies out there, a lolcow is a person who has an online presence, and they tend to draw an inordinate amount of attention to oneself through his or her own odd negative actions. And this person, in general, will strongly react to deliberate trolling or negativity or criticism that they receive, and they can be quote-unquote milked for quote-unquote lols. That's where you get the lol cow, get it? And while I don't fall down these rabbit holes so much as I once did because I thought I was kind of willingly surrounding myself with negativity, the few people that I follow, they still stand out to me even in this day and age. So I quietly follow them and I snatch up each morsel of ridiculousness I can along the way. But sometimes, if you collect enough breadcrumbs, you'll find yourself with an entire baguette. And baguettes are meant to be consumed. And since the moment I became aware of Boogie2988, I was wary of him, and I think right now it's time to say something. Boogie, aka Stephen Williams, he is a content creator on YouTube who's been around for many a year. He found a lot of success on this website and the internet in general, too. He's got over 4 million subscribers, mostly due to this alternate personality, Francis, that he puts on. He portrays a very hyper version of an angry gamer boy. Personally, I think he's got a flair for voice acting and this kind of improv comedy, which I think he should hone more. That all being said, I know this cast is going to annoy some people because I have spoken to a lot of people online who like Boogie. This has been a staple in my internet dealings for years. I've always heard what a nice guy Boogie is, how he's so kind-hearted, how he's inspirational, and what a good person he is. Now, call me a jerk if you must, that is totally fine, but there is always something brewing in me that I just could not get as excited or happy about Boogie or his content as other people around me could. I was just never fully on board. I don't know what it was. It just was something telling me, Now, I don't trust a lot of things, but I especially don't trust it when everyone around me seems to have this consensus about what a good, positive guy somebody is. Especially when they're not deviating from using some of the same phrasing to describe someone. And that's just the general cynical side of me coming out, I think. Now, I'm never, ever going to dictate who another person likes or the kind of content you watch. I am simply here to give my thoughts about why I think this particular creator is becoming, quote-unquote, problematic in internet circles, perhaps. Before we really jump into the nitty-gritty, let me just say I wish ill on no one. I am not rooting for Steven to fail in any aspect of his life. I actually hope for the opposite. I hope whatever good fortune may come to him, comes to him. And I think that that's a weird thing to say about someone who I've never met in real life or interacted with in real life in any sort of capacity. But when you're putting significant portions of your life out on the internet and you're sharing all sorts of feelings with the anonymous people among us, you open yourself to not just people who like you, but people who dislike you will also start to show themselves. And you know what? They're not going to be very shy about telling you why. So this kind of ties into one of the major issues I take with Boogie, and I guess essentially all internet lolcows, but I'm using Boogie here as the top example, I guess. So Boogie has a ton of admirers from online. People deem him an inspiration, especially after he got his weight loss surgery, and to his credit, he's lost a significant amount of weight. People deem him as an inspiration due to how strong he was dealing with a public split from his wife. People say he's an inspiration because he's not afraid to talk about these issues that he has with the entirety of the internet. And I can't ever downplay somebody's mental problems or past traumas. I know that Boogie has had a very hard life. This is something he's publicly attested to having. Despite all this, I think what I see is that he puts on a very good facade most of the time. But if you whittle away at this nice guy persona enough, you're going to see some real passive aggressiveness rear its ugly head. Something that's lying beneath the surface that only a few people know about. The larger fan base has no idea. And if you fall down the rabbit hole enough, you'll discover who Boogie is really listening to and who he's really putting all his energy towards. So I think it's fair to say that a majority of Boogie's fan base is on the young side, I believe. And you know what? Boogie did not start out by marketing himself specifically to kids. I will give him that. However, like any content creator that exists, you have a responsibility to the audience that you have cultivated. And I notice that there is a huge difference between his YouTube viewers and his Twitch viewers, Twitch being the live streaming service. Now, while both are on the younger side of the spectrum, as the internet seems to be made up of teens, you've got this large YouTube fan base who constantly tell Boogie that he's such a great guy, he doesn't deserve all the hate he gets, all the drama that follows him, that just seems to follow him is just so unfounded, all of these things. But think about this. Why would somebody need a group of people to constantly assure you of things like this? Why do you need large swaths of people to tell you not to pay attention to something? That's weird, isn't it? Well, it's because I believe Boogie willingly pays attention to these people. Boogie seems to complain a lot of the time that drama seems to follow him around, or there's a bunch of losers or shitheads online who criticize him at every turn, every juncture, and he is just tired of it. Now, a younger person who hasn't quite learned how to be objective will see somebody who is deserving of sympathy and their time. But when it comes down to it, a majority of the things that people criticize him for stem from odd behaviors that are explained away as moments of, quote, disassociation or, quote, anxiety. Something where no responsibility, no personal responsibility is actually taken, and suddenly it's your fault that you take issue with things that he does. I've compiled a small sample of things that I find highly inappropriate for a 44-year-old man, sometimes labeled as the internet's Mr. Rogers, to do and say to an audience of mostly young viewers. Call me a boomer if you must, but I just have to share these things. And warning, this is not safe for work. Here's Boogie explaining why he has 2 beds in his hotel room.
Why do I have 2 beds? One for me and one for my hooker. One for me and one for my hooker. One for me and one for my hooker. One for me and one for the hooker. One for me and one for my hooker.
Welcome to the sub club.
One for the hooker. One for me and one for the hooker. One for me and one for the hooker. One for me and one for the hooker.
Here's Boogie talking about what people have said about his ex-wife, and don't forget, she had to text him in this stream to get him to stop talking about her.
You know she's getting filled by some black stud. You know there's some black fucking bull that's just filling her with cock meat, giving her the real fuck she deserves. Some big black bull just filling her with cock meat. And that's his crazy talk.
Here he is describing things he likes to do with girls he invites over to his home.
Sometimes that's just something you gotta do. You just gotta lick them right where they pee from. Like this. Die.
Here he is talking about a girlfriend he once had who passed away.
And so fuck her. And now she's dead.
And
Actually, both of them are. The girl is dead. My mom is dead. Everyone I know and love is
Wait,
dead.
the girl died?
Whoa.
How
Yeah,
did
she
she
died. She died of 39 of like fucking lung cancer. She had breast cancer and they beat the breast cancer, but then the
Jesus.
treatment for the breast cancer gave her lung cancer.
Oh my
yeah.
god, that sounds absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it was fucking awful. Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to go through that, bro.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. I mean, I didn't go through it. I'm still alive. She's dead.
Damn.
That's
brutal.
I'm serious. You know, she like, why do I get to complain? She's the one that has to be dead. You know, fuck.
One of Boogie's friends allegedly called for a welfare check on him when Boogie was allegedly threatening suicide, and this happened.
And they decided to call in a welfare check on me that involved the cops showing up at my house, paramedics showing up at my house, the fire department coming into the house, in the middle of a date, by the way. All of this is happening in the middle of a date tonight, by the way. I told him that all of this shit is making me suicidal, and I didn't want to fucking kill myself. That I might kill myself in a month. I might kill myself when I take care of my other shit. But I don't want to fucking kill myself tonight. I want to do it on my terms. I want to do it on my time. But the shit that I'm dealing with is making me fucking suicidal.
And here's, well, just listen to this.
Someone says you can't put your finger into a clitoris. Somebody here doesn't have a scalpel handy. Because let me tell you something. You splay that fucker just right, you can wrap it all around your fingers. You gotta shave real thin. Woo! That's disturbing. That's the most fucked up thing I've said in a while. Woo! That's messed up.
Now, please tell me if any of what you just heard is in any way an okay thing to say, because I don't. And frankly, I am disturbed by some of the things put out online by this man. Boogie actually did kind of apologize for the lady part cutting comment, but he framed it as like, yeah, it's a bad joke. I know, I regret it. I'm sorry, kind of. And I didn't even say I'm sorry in this, but he said, you know, this is why I mark the stream as mature only. You gotta sign in as accepted as mature stream to watch, because I know I pushed the envelope. So it's kind of like, yeah, I know, but you should have known what you're getting into. Sorry, not sorry. And before you say anything, yes, people make mistakes. I'm not perfect, and neither are you. But the difference is, when I make a mistake with something, I do my damnedest not to repeat it or repeat any kind of behavior in the same vein. I'm not here painting myself as this do-gooder in life with the biggest heart in the entire world. It's just telling when I see a content creator admit to messing up, but continually and willingly steps in the bullshit solely to give the quote-unquote haters something to talk about. As I mentioned before, with someone like Boogie, a lot of passive aggressiveness tends to seep out. And in many of his rambling videos, as he calls them, there's a lot of wording he uses that's kind of signaling to me, you know, he'll say, oh, I don't care that these new videos I'm putting out don't get a lot of views. I don't care about that. Except, yes, you do. You're just not directly saying it. You're talking in circles. You're revealing plans and goals to your audience that never go fulfilled, like weight loss or bettering yourself. You're talking more about what you should have done in the past versus changing behavior and doing things differently in the future. I've also noticed that Boogie kind of ropes himself into every conversation that he has, and I don't think it's something he's fully aware of, but I can think of 3 specific instances that really solidified this for me. Things that were also inappropriately lauded by his fan base. As you may know, content creator Total Biscuit passed away this year, and Boogie made a statement where he was talking about the death of Total Biscuit, giving him credit for helping create his business, and some nice paragraphs about who he was and who he was to Boogie. Then there's this weird paragraph saying, John also once threw me under the bus in the name of consumer rights. A PR company was promoting what almost came down to paid reviews, and John broke the story. I was working with that PR company at the time, and while my contract was different than the other contracts, I got lumped in. I talked to John about it, and he said I shouldn't be working with shady companies if I didn't want to be connected to shady things. He was more than glad to sacrifice anything in the name of consumer advocacy, including me. This is a eulogy, is it not? And you're throwing that in there? You're, instead of honoring someone's death, you have to make it about yourself and how he did you wrong? That seems a little odd to me. This is behavior that I don't think is appropriate. There's also this tweet that I thought was very strange. The way that Philly D, aka Philip DeFranco, does news is great. Really hope to see YouTube work with him as a trusted news source. Phil has certainly fucked up in the past, but he also carries the weight of those mistakes and uses it to be better. Again, that's odd. Why say that? What are you trying to accomplish? That you're somehow better than him? I don't understand this statement, and I think that it was a very odd thing to rope into a conversation about YouTube news. And finally, there is this tweet, which I'm not going to read out in its entirety because it's not my story to tell, and there are some allegations that it may not be entirely true, but Boogie decided to share his sister's life story about an incident that allegedly happened between her and his father, their father, ending this tweet with, quote, "What the flying fuck is my life?" End quote. My life. Something that happened not to you, but to your sister, and it's your life. That's very odd. That's very strange to do. That's very, selfish to do. Especially telling a story that was not yours to tell. Oh, and of course, after this alleged incident, he still wished his dad a happy Father's Day. Just thought I'd point that out. These things signal to me that there's a very strange element at play here that kind of won't allow Boogie to see himself in the wrong. Not truly. He may say things like he messed up, or he's changing, or he's sorry, but things like this continue to happen, and they're happening more frequently on a much grander scale. So you have to ask yourself, is this person really changing, or are they just saying they're changing? When you have gained an audience, whether you like to admit it or not, they are holding you accountable as a content creator, an entertainer, and a person. When you go on diet after diet, get bypass surgery, and get upset with people questioning why you've stalled in your weight loss for 6 months, that's you not wanting to deal with your accountability. When you say increasingly messed up things on live stream and write that off as that's just how I am, that is you not wanting to deal with your accountability. When you pay more attention to a subreddit with about 40 active users and you do not give your fans, the people who got you to where you are in the first place, the attention and care they deserve, that is you not wanting to deal with your accountability. everybody has a route they take in life. And that route is never a straight line. There are veers, there are multiple lanes, there's places where we gotta stop and go to the restroom, we gotta go fix our tires. It's all over the place. And more, one of these routes that people take in life is to be an internet personality. Why? Well, because I think it's essentially a simple thing to do. You put yourself out there, you plug your content, you collab with other people, you get recognition in some way. Now, obviously, not everyone receives the amount of success that people like Boogie have found, but it's not that hard necessarily to get started. And if VidCon has taught me anything, it's just, going ahead and being you and you're golden, and then you can be a total creator online. It's just that easy. It's so that easy, right? The difference between YouTubers and lolcows is finding out who exactly they're paying attention to. A YouTuber will see what their fans are after, and a lolcow pays far more attention to the haters than they do the fans, and I put haters in quotations there. And like I said, we all have roots in life, but you will find yourself hating the route you've found yourself on the more you give the haters a junction on the route. If that's all you care about and you don't even hear the pleas of your fans to just stop paying attention to them, you're willingly creating your own problems. And maybe it's not all the problems, but at least a significant portion of them. And that's just what I'm seeing with Boogie more and more. You cannot live a tranquil online life if you're constantly trying to prove the wrong people wrong all the time. Try proving yourself wrong first. Knowing that you can overcome anything because you want to do it, not because you want to stick it up the ass of people who lob criticism at you. Now, it is absolutely fair of you to say that Boogie and I are not on the same YouTube wavelength. I do not share my personal things like he does with you all. I just don't do that. You at this moment do not know if I am in a relationship or not. You don't know where I stand with my friends, my parents, my job situation, anything like that. And there are some YouTubers who do that, and I don't judge them for that. But damn it, I've got to continually caution content creators who do that. Not only does it open you up to all sorts of jerks who take things and run with them, it has an effect on your audience as well. And from what I've observed, Boogie's audience tends to share these very incredibly personal stories about themselves. Whether it's in their video comments or live stream comments or tweets, they're there. Instead, all of the attention from someone they deem an inspiration goes to a bunch of internet quote-unquote haters who we are constantly lectured about being people to avoid online. And that isn't even a Boogie-centric problem. It's just something that most lolcows do, especially if it generates attention to them in any way possible. All in all, I want to emphasize this at least one more time. I do not wish ill on Boogie whatsoever. I just had to speak out because there's been an increasing need for me to do so. There's things that I didn't have even time to cover here, particularly regarding Reddit drama. And that can be just sparked through another discussion, which I'm happy to have with the man himself or anybody who want to speak to me about it. I'm really not trying to be a content cop here. I'm trying to provide examples of why I think this particular content creator is becoming more problematic and maybe, in essence, help other people who want to be on this path as well. And I don't want to see this problematic behavior keep popping up. I'd rather see Boogie for how his fans see him, as this really nice guy who's there to help and bring positivity, things that he wants to do, things he has said himself that he wants to do and hopes to be. And if there is an actual push towards bettering himself, which we can see and have evidence of, the accountability I was talking about, if he does it not just for his audience but for himself, people will take notice of that. Even all those big bad quote-unquote haters take notice of it. Remember, people online can only work off of what you're offering them. And if you're out there offering two-facedness and emotional manipulation tactics at every turn, people are going to push back against that. My final thought, I do wish for Boogie to find a healthy outlet for whatever he is going through, and hopefully not drag his channel down with him. And like I said, I am here to chat or debate should the opportunity arise. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. It was a doozy, and I hope that I wasn't too mean, because I don't want to be that person or that snarky bitch or anything like that. If you like this kind of exploratory podcast, I am happy to do more. I've got plenty of people I can talk about. I have an idea to do an interview with people who are members of the LGBTQ community. I would like to talk to you because I want to see where you stand within the community, what your feelings are about the community, and how you think relations between people could be even better. But specifically, I do need some LGBTQ peeps going forward. If you want to be interviewed by me, please give me an email at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. I am more than happy to talk to you. And if you want to be on the cast, please let me know. I don't think this will be the next Ginescast because this will take some time to put together, but this is absolutely something I want to do. So please shoot me those emails, ladies and gentlemen. The Ginescast comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please comment below, give it a share, or subscribe to my channel for more content. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at HelloGines, or again, shoot me an email at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. If you have an idea for a Ginescast, please go ahead and email me. I'm always here to listen, and I'm ready for anything. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm Gina Annunziato, and I'll see you next time. Take care.